The storm raged outside the solitary lighthouse, its ancient beams cutting through the inky darkness, warning ships away from the treacherous rocks. Inside, the lighthouse keeper, Samuel, sat alone, his nerves on edge. It had been a long time since he had seen another soul, but tonight he felt a presence lurking in the shadows. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling the windows, and the rain pounded on the roof with relentless fury. Samuel had lived in the lighthouse for years, but he had never experienced a night like this. The sea roared, its waves crashing against the rocks below, as if it were trying to break free from its watery prison. As Samuel sipped his tea, he heard a faint, eerie whisper in the wind. It sounded like a woman's voice, distant and mournful. He dismissed it as a trick of his imagination, but the unease lingered. He got up from his chair and peered out of the window, scanning the blackness for any sign of trouble. Nothing, only the swirling rain and the relentless darkness. With a sigh, he returned to his chair, hoping to distract himself with a book. But as he opened the pages, he heard the whispers again, louder this time, as if it were right outside the window. He froze, his heart pounding in his chest. The voice was unmistakable now, a woman crying for help. Without thinking, Samuel rushed out of the lighthouse and into the storm, his lantern cutting a path through the rain-soaked night. He followed the haunting voice, stumbling over the rocky terrain, the wind pulling at his coat. The cries grew louder, more desperate, leading him to the edge of a cliff. There, on the precipice, stood a woman, her tattered dress billowing in the wind, her hair a wild tangled mess. She gazed at Samuel with the hollow eyes, her lips moving soundlessly. He reached out to her, but she vanished into thin air, leaving him with nothing but the echo of her haunting sobs. Breathing heavily, Samuel stumbled back to the lighthouse, soaked to the bone and trembling with fear. He locked the door behind him, trying to convince himself that what he had seen was a hallucination brought on by the storm. But deep down, he knew it was something else, something unnatural. As the night wore on, Samuel couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Every creak of the old lighthouse seemed to carry a sinister presence. He tried to shake off his unease, telling himself it was just his imagination, but the fear gnawed at him like a hungry beast. Then, from the darkness outside, came a series of eerie echoing footsteps. Samuel's heart raced as he realized they were coming from inside the lighthouse. He grabbed his lantern and cautiously made his way up spiraling staircase to the top. The room at the summit was empty, save for the eerie glow of the lighthouse's lamp. Samuel scanned the room, his lantern revealing nothing out of the ordinary. But then he heard it, a soft, echoing whisper, like a ghostly breath on the back of his neck. Slowly, he turned around, and there, standing in the corner of the room, was the woman he had seen earlier. Her eyes now filled with malevolence. She was no longer crying for help. Instead, she was whispering something in a language Samuel couldn't understand. His heart pounding, Samuel backed away, but the woman advanced. Her movements unnatural, her feet not quite touching the ground. She reached out with bony, spectral fingers, and Samuel could feel an icy chill in the air as his hand brushed against his skin. With a scream, he fled down the staircase, his lantern extinguished by a gust of wind. He stumbled in the darkness, his heart racing, his mind filled with terror. He had to get out of the lighthouse, away from that malevolent presence. As he burst out of the lighthouse, the storm still raged. But Samuel didn't care. He ran blindly into the night, away from the haunted beacon that had been his home for so long. He never looked back, never returned, leaving behind the unsettling night in a lighthouse and the ghostly presence that still haunted its ancient walls. To this day, the lighthouse stands as a warning to sailors, its light still cutting through the darkness. But those who dare to venture inside claim to hear the mournful cries of a woman and feel the chilling touch of a vengeful spirit forever trapped in the stormy night.